Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kurt, and welcome back to Farlands or Bust. Woof, that's happening every single time. I am saying, welcome back to Farlands or Bust, and then woof. Woof indeed, Wolfie, woof indeed. Here we are, breaking out of the hidey hole in episode... There's a creeper. There's a creeper over there. In episode 300, I had to reference my notes, 341 of Farlands or Bust. And let's clear out a little bit of inventory. Ooh, I need some wood. But first, let's actually take a little boat ride towards the Farlands in a westward direction. And I will continue talking. Indeed, it is Farlands or Bust, episode 341. Today is Friday, April 11th, 2014. Sort of. I'm actually recording this a day early, something I generally don't do. But I have something going on tomorrow, and I just want to make sure I can get the Monday, Wednesday, Friday Farlands or Bust up. So I'm doing this a little bit ahead of time. Forgive me. Forgive me for jumping the gun. But this video is coming out at least on Friday, April 11th, 2014. So deal with it. Indeed. And at least when I'm recording this... Wolfie. Spawn under my boat. At least while I'm recording this, the amount that we have raised thus far for Child's Play... God. This isn't working. There we go. I think that's a spawner over there. I guess we can check it out. Whoop, I guess we can break our boat in the process. Oh, almost. We have raised for Child's Play charity is $511.78. Oh, maybe this isn't a spawner. This is, looks like a spawner. Tastes like a spawner. Smells like a spawner. But is it a spawner? We will investigate. Just because I wish to do something. I am bored! No, Wolfie, that's not where you want to be. Come over here. I don't want you in the spawner. Yeah, over here. Ooh, I whistled. I normally can't whistle on command. No, over here. You noodle. Noodle. There, have a seat. Well done. Yeah, let's try this out. I'm not sure, like I just said, if this is actually a spawner or not, or I'm just paranoid. Oh. Nah, it might not be, because there is 2 source blocks here, and normally... Actually, let's do this the smart way. Normally, if it's a spawner, that means that the sand collapsed, and they wouldn't be source blocks. As I choke, these wouldn't be source blocks here. Oh, doubt. Oh, I've messed up. Well, that'll have to do. All right. This is going to be a quick experiment. I don't think it's a spawner. Nope. Not a spawner. It's not a spicy meatball. All right, there we go. Well, fiddlesticks. Here I was hoping for some excitement, and I did not. I did not receive it. But regardless, yeah. April 11, 2014, $511.78. You go to farlandsorbust.com. Keep giving to Child's Play charity. Getting toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world. A great cause for gamers. The gamer community has supported for over 10 years and continues to do so. Obviously, Farlands or Bust, Mario Marathon, Minecraft Marathon, Desert Bus for Hope, Zeldathon supported Child's Play charity. Many reasons to continue giving, and I do appreciate it. Like I said, farlandsorbust.com, and you can leave a question with your donation in the comment field, and I will attempt to get to it in an episode of Farlands or Bust. Whew, indeed. So, yeah, continuing on, you may have noticed that I got those achievements again. Am I in? Yeah, I got the texture pack right. I got those achievements again. Because I set it up wrong. Yes, last time. The old launcher for Farlands or Bust, the old Beta 173 launcher that I had been using and had not updated for many years, it went out of style. And I had to start using the new launcher, And I didn't realize about the whole separate directories. As part of the new Minecraft launcher, you have a lot of options in each of your profiles. You can set up a different installation directory, a different, Java, a different, you can adjust the amount of RAM arguments and whatnot you give to your Java. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff, and I hadn't been using that. I'm quite embarrassed to say I've still been using, even with the new launcher, I've still been using the old the only other way you could really reliably, at least in Windows, get Minecraft to install into different directories and multiple versions of Minecraft as an extension was using bat files to point Minecraft at a certain directory, and I'd still been using that even with the current versions of the game, even though they had built that functionality into the launcher. It was sheer laziness and ineptitude that continued to allow me to do that. I've since rectified that this morning, because a lot of you were saying, oh, you were complaining about how all of your saves are in the same directory. Why don't you use different directories in your profiles? I'm like, oh yeah, so I guess that pretty much convinced me to spend the extra time setting up a different installation for Mindcrack, which runs on snapshots, a different installation for the full releases that I can use on multiplayer servers like Play Mindcrack and things like that. And then, of course, here, Beta 173, that I can for the sole purpose of playing Fundraiser Bust, so I can have them in all safe and nestled in the separate directories, and now I'm actually properly using what I'm sure was a lot of work for Dinnerbone and the Mojang crew to add to the launcher options that I've simply been ignoring this entire time. So I'm living in the year 2000 finally. So yeah, that's why I'm getting all my achievements. That's why all of my statistics have probably reset once again. I should just do that at the beginning of every episode, shouldn't I? That'll totally make it impossible for anybody to keep track as to how far I walk, because the statistics, statistics won't be accurate by any means whatsoever. But we are back. Obviously, still running 1.7.3. Everything is working just dandy. I did back up. I have backed up and archived the original launcher that I never updated, just for old time's sake, for nostalgic purposes, and just in case it needs to be resurrected. It's still a viable option for me, but this seems to be working just fine and dandy, and I hope you guys think so too. Seems Wolfie thinks so, except I'm taking this rather unnecessarily dangerous pathway. Careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie, careful, Wolfie. Oh, double hits. That's a shame. And a change. And a shame. Yeah. Let's continue on. I want to talk about some space news. I want to let you guys know about an event that you can take part in. Well, you can observe, I guess, technically. You're not really having any influence over it whatsoever, except for whatever minuscule amount of gravitational pull your body has. But on April 15th, in 4 days, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse. That is when the Earth passes between the moon and the sun in its orbit. Obviously, we're coming up here on a full moon. Total eclipses of the moon only happen at a full moon, because that's when the moon is opposite the sun. But yeah, that's going to be happening on April 15th. The problem for me is, and probably why I'm personally not going to be able to participate, as I said, is that it starts at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. That is 1 a.m. Central Time, where I'm at. And the actual totality doesn't begin until 3 a.m. Eastern Time, 2 a.m. Central Time. And I just do not know if I'm going to be able to be up that late. That early, I guess you could say, by that span of imagination right there, is that it's going to be a very early event, and it favors those of you who are on the Pacific coast, I suppose you could say. Favors those of you, those few of you laying on the sunny beaches of Hawaii, perhaps, but not so much for the East and Central time zones. Maybe I'll be able to check it out. It's a cool thing. They happen quite frequently. A total lunar eclipse. But if you haven't seen one, perhaps you would want to stay up kind of late to check it out. The moon starts to get a little bit dark, and then it turns a really cool red color, and it sort of disappears. You can still see it, that redness. Let's go to sleep, actually. Hi, moon. Bye, moon. And awakeness. Not quite as dramatic as a solar eclipse, obviously, but it turns an orange color because the light refracted through the Earth's atmosphere. It gets that interesting blood red color, but it's cool. It's still visible. It doesn't like disappear from the skies like a new moon or anything. It's actually still visible in the sky. So it'd be kind of cool. It's something I've never watched through a telescope. So that's kind of the only reason I kind of am like, maybe I could try staying up around that time just to try it out with a telescope. Maybe not. We'll see, but I just want to let you guys know about it in case you are, say, on the Pacific Coast or Mountain Time. Careful, Wolfie! That wasn't that big of a fall. What are you doing? And you want to check out a lunar eclipse. I also have... Why am I swimming? What am I doing? I should be going a little bit north as well to kind of cancel out my poor directional skills. There we go. Let's get the compass on the bar. Ooh, I need some blocks. Get a few blocks on the bar and head a little bit that way. Another space news, little news item that happened throughout the internet. Perhaps you've heard of it. Perhaps it went a little bit viral. That last week, almost a couple weeks ago, maybe it was last week, out of Norway, there was a video and a story from a skydiver who claims to have filmed a meteorite after it has entered the atmosphere, a meteorite passing by him as he was skydiving. Actually, just after he popped his parachute. He popped his parachute just after he popped his parachute, which is actually going to be an important factoid, a little a nugget of that story you're going to have to remember for later. But just after he popped his parachute and started slowing down, he captured with his GoPro camera a rock falling from above him past him at a much faster speed than him, and pretty much claimed, it seemed like, I'm not saying this person is a hoaxer or a faker or trying to get internet celebrity status or something. It seemed like instead of going straight to the news outlets and to the YouTubes and well, he went straight to the YouTubes and uploaded the footage, but he went to, he seemed like he was seeking out experts at universities to get their opinions. So I'm going to give this person the benefit of the doubt that they weren't really actually trying to hoax anybody. Although I just feel like maybe he jumped to the conclusion of meteorite a little bit too quickly, but it was a very interesting story, and right away, looking at it, I'm like, you gotta be really skeptical, because the internet, nobody would lie on the internet. You must be crazy. No, I was right away, I'm like, there's no way. Obviously, people are saying, it's a never before seen chance to see a meteorite falling after, in midair, but after it was actually in its fiery, shooting star stage, between being a meteorite and meteoroids having landed on the ground. There were a lot of stories about this, pretty much taking it as face value. Oh yes, a meteor almost hit a skydiver. News at 11. But one person, and I suggest you subscribe to this blog, and I have in the past and will continue to do so, but Bad Astronomy, Dr. Phil Plait, who has a long history as a science outreach on the internet through his blog, Bad Astronomy. He's on a TV show on Discovery Channel for a while, but takes a really skeptic look at these claims, and sure enough, he wrote a good series of articles over the past week where he was really, you could really tell on the inside, he's like, all right, I want to give this person the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to look at all the footage. I'm not going, and for the first few articles he wrote, he said, it's possible. It is possible. And nothing about the footage would suggest that much otherwise that we see at this point and from the information we have from this guy. So he was kind of giving the benefit of the doubt, but he was saying it is incredibly unlikely, and there's probably a more realistic explanation. Ooh, what is that hole in the wall? Somebody building tiny holes along the way here? Suspicious. There's probably a more likely explanation to this footage and what we're seeing here, but because they can't and haven't recovered the rock, because the footage is limited to what, 10 or so frames. Ooh, this is spooky. That's really spooky. It's an opening into a cave. All right. Hello? Ding ding. Do you have vacancy? Ding. I have a reservation. Ding ding. Oh, I'm losing my mind. So anyway, recently he came out with a third article where he quite plainly debunks the entire story. One of the things, which I personally didn't know, not being a skydiver, but talking to a bunch of other skydivers, where do you think, particularly, a skydiver packs his or her parachute? It's normally on the ground before they take off. They spread out the parachute on the ground and roll it up and fold it whatever specific way you need to fold the parachute so that it doesn't let you die once it's deployed, and then roll it up and put it in the backpack. So actually, learning or hearing from skydivers saying, yeah, it's actually quite common to have accidentally rolled in a rock or a piece of trash or some dirt or grass or something into your parachute, because that's where you pack it. So point number one, okay, the rock passed this skydiver, the meteorite, as they're claiming, passed the skydiver, and I told you to remember this part of the story, right almost immediately after he popped his chute and started slowing down from his skydive, from his free fall. And then when they looked at the footage further, there were a few frames that were missed earlier that actually show a second rock, a second object that was falling at the same speed at the same time, pretty much right after the parachute was deployed. So that right away, you couldn't claim that two meteorites passed him at exactly the same time, at exactly the same speed, especially given that they were both of different sizes. They would not be traveling at the same speed. It pretty much, it was just a rock that accidentally got packed into his parachute before he went off on his skydiving thrill ride. So that, it was a very interesting, I suppose, it was just interesting to see the series of, deductions, I suppose, throughout the Bad Astronomy blog as he posted different posts, and yeah, it could be this, but I'm not discounting that, and this or that or the other. Other people were looking at it and saying, okay, it's not accelerating, but it's not really what the terminal velocity would be of a meteorite of that size. They were doing math. You could do math about the distance traveled versus each frame is 30 frames a second. You do the math, and you can find out how fast the object was going. A little bit of a reminder, don't believe everything you see on the internet, but also, you have the tools at your disposal, possibly. Perhaps you don't have a conglomerate of experts and scientists and skydivers, whatnot, to talk to about these sort of things, but you should defer the expertise to that before claiming anything a little bit too sensational. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen any follow-up from the skydiver, but like I said, he seemed like he was trying to do the right thing and trying to get it verified. But again, you get a little bit swept up when you upload your video to YouTube and you end up getting millions of hits or whatever. You're like, yeah, it is a meteorite. Look at me, I'm famous now. But of course, there's also look at where you get your news as well, because I was looking at the same story at space.com. You'd think would be a reliable source, but in my history and my knowledge of looking at... Oh, careful, Wolfie. Good googly moogly. You went off the exact wrong side. Space.com really isn't that great of a resource for space or astronomy news. They tend to lean a bit sensationalist, a bit almost tabloidy, and even regarding this story, they haven't followed up or posted any updates to their skydiver almost gets hit by a meteoroid story that they uploaded last week. So I would recommend Bad Astronomy for most, and also, you know, plenty of other sources on Twitter. You know, you got you know, the NASA website is better than that, even though it itself sometimes doesn't publish things at the highest rate of speed. All right, let's make a... Ooh, I need some dirt for the elevated hidey-ho. There we go. This'll do. There's a place called Space Weather, which talks a lot about comets and space weather, like solar prominences and things like that. You know, there are many sources. Don't just because they have the awesome domain of space.com doesn't mean you have to believe everything they say. So let's go to sleep, and I have one more, I suppose, story I read on the internet. I'm trying to talk. Let's go to sleep. I'm trying to talk. Let's go to sleep. I'm so weird. I'm trying to talk about things that aren't too time sensitive because, like I said, I'm recording this early, and even by the time this video goes up, my normal recording schedule on the day for Far Lands or Bust, the Child's Play charity donation amount might be different. So look at all these zombies. Going to the zombie party. But I have another thing I read in the blogosphere, in the blogs of which receive death from the diamond sword of spawn pointiness, still as sharp as ever. A lot of people thought that I lost the diamond sword because in the thumbnail I chose the one frame where I accidentally dropped it last episode. Ah, that's called clickbait. No. I'm horrible. No, there was I follow Put This On, kind of a what do I want to call it, a men's style blog, run by Jesse Thorne, who's once again another kind of internet. He does a lot of podcasting, a lot of shows on NPR and whatnot. But they posted an article that just caught my eye, and I made a tweet towards it and a reference. Obviously, Wolfie, are we not going to have this pig? Okay, I'll take it. Obviously, kind of appropriate for Far Lands or Bust because my character wears the red Converse high tops. I, in real life, have the pair of red Converse high tops, the Chuck Taylor All-Star Converse. Also, I want to pair a couple more pairs of the low tops and things. They're pretty a good, comfortable, simple sneaker for those kind of looking for a little bit of a simpler design as opposed to buying your modern day Nikes or Adidases that are all weird colors and stripy things and crazy cushion bouncy soles and things like that. Pretty, a simple casual shoe. Anyway, getting to the point, there was a post on Put This On that talked about, you ever notice, I'm sure a lot of you, they're a pretty popular shoe, a lot of you wear Converse, Chuck Taylors. When you get a brand new pair, whoa, that that piece of land made my mouse go crazy. Wow, I want to check this out. The bottom, the sole, has like there's a fuzziness to the bottom of the sole, and only certain parts of the bottom of the sole are fuzzy. And it's actually it kind of sucks, to be honest. It's kind of like, why did they do this? Because it makes the soles less grippy, because you have this fuzzy kind of felt bottom, and walking on like hardwood floors before you break in your Converse, before the fuzziness wears off, it's kind of slippery sometimes. You ever wonder why that is? You think it's some sort of, it's to protect like the basketball courts because these are all, the original type of basketball shoe or, something like that. I've told myself those stories, but apparently, according to Put This On and a further article they link, I'll link to their post, but they have fuzzy bottoms in order for Converse to get them classified as house slippers instead of being classified as rubber-soled sneakers. Why would they want that, you ask? Well, they're made in China and they need to be imported into the US. Turns out that house slippers get much less of an import tariff. As much as the duty of importing sneakers could be as high as 37.5%, as opposed to house slippers, only 3% of an import tariff. What? That is the most craziest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I mean, I'm not trying to make any sort of like political statements about import tariffs or whatever. I don't know anything about that. I'm not trying to say anything about Converse Chuck Taylor All-Stars. Ooh, that's some hidden lava under there. Trying to dodge taxes or anything like that. A lot of companies, either clothing, toys, things that are imported, they want to do their best to somehow classify them as something that gets less of an import tax. Just like if you have friends overseas, if you send them a package overseas, the people receiving it generally have to pay a duty fee, and it's based on what you say is inside the box. And sometimes they will open your box to see what's on the inside so that they know what to charge the recipient. So it's just a really strange thing. For the longest time, you get new Converse, you're like, why are they fuzzy on the bottom? It seems counterintuitive, and it is kind of counterintuitive, but they do that to save money on import taxes, because they're classified as house slippers then. Crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy stuff indeed. I just thought, God, careful, Wolfie. You need some slippers. Soften your landing. Oh, I already have a bone in my inventory. Hey, Wolfie! Over here. Whoop, 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 whoop. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, dang it. I ate that, didn't I? Oh, no, it looks like he did. Why am I getting... Hold on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That was weird. I started to experience, and indeed crashed, as a result of a lot of lag. The same kind of lag we experienced during Flobathon. This past Flobathon, and it actually froze up and crashed Minecraft. Wolfie is still here, though. I ended the process, effectively, without saving the world. And Wolfie is still here. That was a problem before. He didn't respawn because obviously it didn't save his entity, I guess. But Wolfie is still here. I still have everything I had before. I want to actually go back a little bit because my primary concern with this is that it didn't save the chunks in between. Betwixt. When I crashed... And the last moment it actually saved. Like, it's possible it just spawned me and Wolfie as to the coordinates of the player file, but didn't actually update anything between here and there. So there might... And I was really ticked off because I feel like this episode was going so well, and I feel like I was actually talking somewhat coherently about the topics that I chose. And I didn't want to have to re-record the entire thing. But these are the reasons why I have backups every single episode. I have only had to resort to those twice during actual episodes, for actual recordings of episodes, and then twice, once during... Well, no, I attempted to restore from a backup during Flobathon number 2 to bring back Wolfie, but that didn't work. And then I actually had to restore from a backup and lost about an hour of progress during the previous Flobathon this past March. But yeah, it's hard. I don't know if I'll ever know. It's hard to tell whether or not the terrain has generated between me and... okay, I remember hearing zombies. Between me and where it last saved. And it was absolutely... You know, I feel like this version of the game does indeed have a memory leak. I think what happened is I didn't increase the allowable memory for Java to use with the new launcher. That's one of the problems you didn't tell me about, guys. Switching to the new launcher, you know everything. Why didn't you tell me this? But yeah, there's like I was saying, there's an option in the launcher to give Java, quote unquote, arguments to tell it how much memory to allocate for itself. And the default is 1 gigabyte, and it should have been the 2. And I did look at my process, my Windows Task Manager, and it was using like 1.7 gigs of RAM, and at that point it was using like 70% CPU. PU. So it was a memory type situation. God, that really looks like terrain that's spawning. All right, well, once again we are going to screw up the estimates about how far KurtJMac is getting in Farlands or Bust very soon here, very early into season 5. Less than a few episodes in. 5 episodes, 6. This will be the 6th episode. No, 7 episodes into season 5. And already we're screwing things up by walking backwards, but this is a necessary evil. I almost wish I could find the old vitamin bar. No, the previous elevated hidey hole, but there's not enough time to do that. It was somewhere in a forest as well, so that'd be difficult. Let me make that island over there. I'm going to actually make it. I'm going to create it from scratch. No, I'm going to make it to that island. Make the hidey hole there. Whoa, careful, Wolfie. Don't walk in front of me. Don't walk in front of me. Boop. All right. Let's get to this island over here, and then we will... it might have been faster just to swim here. And then we will set up camp in this mound. Yeah. Well, such is the interesting happenstances of recording a day early. I won't know what you guys think until a day after. Yeah, I don't know if I should walk back a little bit further to try to find that old elevated hidey hole or not. Because I would hate for there to be a seam or a missing chunk from the yep. Have a seat, Wolfie. From the map. That is, if I'm ever going to make a map. It's a work in progress. Give me a break. I have 11 gigabytes of Minecraft map to both find a way to turn into an overviewer map and also to upload and host on a web server. So that's going to take some time. Months. Many months. Let's just say that so nobody gets disappointed when it takes that long. Alright. Okay, weird ending. Weird ending to Farlands or Bust. Certainly one of the enjoyable things about Farlands or Bust is we're actually kind of, quite literally, intending to break the game. Because you're really not supposed to be coming this far out in vanilla, without cheats or mods or anything, so let's make a boat. Oh. And yeah, so it's kind of part of the journey. I still have my task manager open, and I'm watching as the memory raises. It's over a gig. Started the episode as probably like 600 megabytes or something. It's hovering right now about 1 point... Oh, now it went from 9 to 11 gigs, back down to 9, 13, 10. I'm speaking in thousands. Huh. I will never understand you, Java and Minecraft. But we've previously been able to walk entire episodes without that ever being a problem. So, an interesting development? Perhaps a direct result of using the new Minecraft launcher? Only time will tell, perhaps find out next week in Farlands Bust. Thank you so much for watching and for all your support. My name is Kurt. I will see you next time.